Nizzy, and in this video, you guys, we got our last and final installment of the NFL Top 10 list where we break down the top 10 players at each position group heading into the 2021 NFL season, you guys. And last but not least, probably one of the most important positions on the defensive side of the ball, we're going to be covering the safety position today, you guys. Got a fun one for you guys here. Right quick before we get it started, you guys, if you can go ahead and like this video. If you like sporting content like this, go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you're looking for more sporting content like this in the near future. Been getting a lot of support on the channel lately, you guys, and it means a lot to me, man. We're going to keep coming out with as many videos as possible here for you guys in the near future. But without further ado, you guys, let's go ahead and start breaking down our top 10 safeties heading into the 2021 NFL season. And no surprise here, you guys, he's been one of the top safeties in the league for quite a few years now. In the number 1 slot, we're going to the Kansas City Chiefs and taking Tyrann Mathieu. The dude's just been an absolute beast in the league since he's entered the league with the Texans back in the day. Obviously, he's been one of the heart and soul leaders of the Kansas City Chiefs defense and one of the big reasons they were able to win that Super Bowl a couple of years ago, as well as get back to the Super Bowl last year, which unfortunately they fell short to the Tampa Bay Bucks. No fault of the defense, really. They had an atrocious offensive line and were dealing with a bunch of injury there, so no surprise they weren't able to hang on for the victory in that game. But in a little bit of stats for you guys on Tyrann Mathieu here. 15 games last year, he had 62 total tackles, 3 tackles for a loss, and 2 quarterback hits. Also recovered 1 fumble while on defense and had 9 pass defenses. Also had 6 interceptions last year, so he's got a very, very good nose for the football. He's very good at reading some of the plays and being able to step in those lanes and be able to pick off the passes. Also had a defensive touchdown last year as well, was a first-team All-Pro and a Pro Bowler. Like I said, he's been one of the best safeties in the league for quite a few years now. I expect that trend to continue. I expect the Chiefs to be probably right back in the thick of things, fighting for a Super Bowl again this year, and he's going to be one of the staples on the defensive side of the ball for that team. And then heading over to the number 2 slot, you guys are going to the Pittsburgh Steelers and selecting Minkah Fitzpatrick. This dude's been an absolute baller pretty much since he's entered the league. This was a phenomenal pickup by Pittsburgh a couple years back there. Last year he was able to start all 16 games for the Steelers, accumulating 79 total tackles, 1 forced fumble as well as 1 fumble recovery. Also added in 4 interceptions and 1 defensive touchdown of his own. Also had 11 pass defenses and finished up with first-team All-Pro as well as Pro Bowl honors last year. Like I said, just another solid option in the middle of that secondary for the Steelers. Probably one of the best defenses in the league the Steelers have, just with their defensive front, their linebacking core, as well as their secondary. Obviously, Minkah Fitzpatrick is a big part of the reason why they have such a tenacious defense, and that's why I got him in the number 2 slot, you guys. Number 3, we go over to the Broncos and we select safety Justin Simmons. This guy's been outstanding for those guys. I expect him to have another solid season, especially with the additions to that secondary of guys like Patrick Surtain. Should only help make Justin Simmons' job easier. In 16 games last year, he had 96 total tackles and 1 fumble recovery. Also defended 9 passes, had 5 interceptions, and made the Pro Bowl. So this guy's just been a solid get-it-done guy for the Denver Broncos secondary unit for the last few seasons now. They've always had a really good defense. It's always been their offensive struggles that have kind of held them back from being able to make it into the playoffs. I would expect a lot of the same this year. Hopefully Teddy Bridgewater can find some sort of consistency for that offense so those guys can try and make a little bit of a push into a playoff position. But it's going to be an uphill battle for the Broncos, and it's a good thing they got a guy like Justin Simmons on the back end to help them try and push forward to a playoff spot. That's why I got him in my number 3 slot, you guys. Number 4, we're heading over to the Cincinnati Bengals and selecting Jessie Bates. This guy's been a solid defender for a few years now. Unfortunately, he's been on an atrocious team in the Cincinnati Bengals, so you don't hear a lot about the guy just because he isn't playing on a playoff team or a team that wins a lot of games. But that can possibly change here in the near future depending on the health of Joe Burrow this season and how that offensive line holds up for them. But the Bengals defense have always been pretty solid. Jessie Bates has been a staple in that secondary unit for those guys. In 16 games last year, he had 109 total tackles, 1 forced fumble, 15 pass defenses. So the dude's all over the field breaking up passes for you. Also chipped in with 3 interceptions as well. Just one of the heart and soul guys on the defensive side of the ball for that squad. Definitely one of the top safeties in the league. Has potential to maybe even be the number 1 safety in the league coming up if he can continue to progress forward here. So I got him in the number 4 slot, you guys. Going over to the number 5 slot, we got a huge veteran presence here. A guy who's been doing it for so long in the league and who's been one of the best safeties for the last 5-6 years, and that's Harrison Smith from the Vikings. I know a lot about this guy for sure. See him twice a season as I'm a Packers fan. You guys never enjoy playing against the guy. One of the harder hitting safeties in the league. Very good tendencies, being able to read the plays. Played in 16 games last year, accumulating a total of 89 tackles. Had half a sack as well as 10 pass defenses and 5 interceptions. He's just a force to be reckoned with and one of the heart and soul guys on that Minnesota Vikings defense. And obviously bringing that excellent veteran presence. You know, he's just played this position at such a high level for so many years. I mean, he's just at the pinnacle of his game. And even though he's 31 years old, he's still one of the best safeties in the league and can, in my opinion, still be one of the best safeties in the league for the next couple of seasons here, barring no unforeseen health issues. So that's why I got Harrison Smith in the number 5 slot, you guys. Heading over to the number 6 slot, we're going over to the Cardinals and selecting Budda Baker. He had an outstanding season last year. Obviously, you guys probably remember one of the highlight plays of his season was that interception that he ran back for, I think it was 70 or 80 yards before Metcalf caught up behind him against the Seahawks there and tackled him at like the 2-yard line. It was pretty funny, to be honest. I'm sure you guys remember that play. But in 15 games last year, you guys, Budda Baker had 118 total tackles, so the dude was just all over the field, making plays for his squad. Also had 7 tackles for a loss and 2 sacks. 1 forced fumble, 6 pass defenses, and 2 interceptions. So the dude was just doing it all for his team. Very versatile out there. One of the quicker safeties in the league for sure. Ended up earning first team All-Pro and Pro Bowl honors last year as well. So that just goes to show the quality of talent that this guy is. I would expect him to have another solid season in that Arizona secondary this season. That's why I got him in my number 6 slot, you guys. Heading over into the number 7 slot, we got a little bit of bias here, you guys, but this dude has been balling out for the last few years now. Been one of the better safeties in the league, in my opinion, as well, and that's Adrian Amos. Had a really solid season for our Packers last year. Played in all 16 games in the 2 seasons he's been with us now. Has not missed a game, which is huge. You love to see the reliability of that player. Finished up last year with 83 total tackles in those 16 games. 4 tackles for a loss, as well as 2 quarterback sacks. Also had 1 fumble recovery to go along with his 9 passes defended and 2 interceptions. And then over in the playoffs, obviously had that huge interception on Tom Brady in the second half of the NFC Championship game. When basically Jair, I believe, had back-to-back interceptions, and then Amos got one. So we had three interceptions in a row. Weren't able to get the job done, but not to the fault of guys like Amos. Played an outstanding playoffs for us in a regular season. I expect him to be another one, solid contributor within that secondary unit for us, one of the leaders of that defense. He's just been an absolute steal, in my opinion, since we brought him over from the Chicago Bears. And definitely one of the leaders of our defensive side of the ball. So that's why I got him in that number 7 slot. Number 8, we are selecting John Johnson. This year he's going to be with the Browns, signed a new contract with the Browns this year, but last year he played with the Rams. Was, a real solid option for them within probably one of the best secondaries in the NFL last year. Obviously, you guys got guys like Jalen Ramsey there at the cornerback slot when he was there, so no surprise they were one of the best secondaries in the league last year. He was able to play in all 16 games for the squad, accumulated 105 tackles, 8 passes defended, and 1 interception. I think he's going to be bringing a lot of nice talent and veteran experience over to the Cleveland Browns secondary, and they're going to be a force to be reckoned with this year. Obviously, you got guys like Denzel Ward on the outside, and then bringing in a guy like John Johnson to solidify that secondary unit. They're going to be a mean squad to be messing with this year, the Cleveland Browns, and John Johnson's going to be a big part of that defense for them. So I got him in the number 8 slot, you guys. And then going to the 9 slot, we're heading over to the Tennessee Titans and selecting Kevin Byard. Guy's been a solid piece to that defense for the last couple of years. He's been real good since he's been in the league. He had 111 total tackles throughout the 16 games played last year, 1 forced fumble, defended 7 passes, and had 1 interception as well. Obviously, the Tennessee Titans defense wasn't as good as it has been in years past. I expect them to have a bit of a bounce back year on the defensive side of the ball this year, and I think Kevin Byard is going to be one of those guys to be driving that train forward. So that's why I got him in the number 9 slot, you guys. And then over to the number 10 slot, we're heading over to the Seahawks. and selecting the highest paid safety. He just had that huge contract signing with the Seahawks, and that's Jamal Adams, you guys. Now, I would have had this guy higher on my list had he been better in coverage, but he is definitely more of, like a sub-package linebacker safety. He really plays more of a linebacker role than he does a safety role. Really spending more of his time attacking the run game and getting in the backfield. He's one of the best blitzing, if not the best blitzing safety in the league for sure. And he only played 12 games last year. He does deal with a bit of injuries here and there just because he is such a ferocious defender. He's just flying around making huge hits all the time, so obviously you're going to have a little bit of wear and tear on your body. But he did finish the season in the 12 games he played with 83 tackles, 11 tackles for a loss, and 14 quarterback hits. So he's got better tackles for loss and quarterback hits as well as sacks. He had 9.5 sacks. So he's the upper echelon of the league for safeties when it comes to being able to get into the backfield and blow plays up. But as for coverage, he's not the best guy in coverage. He only had 3 pass defenses last year, 1 forced fumble, no interceptions, not a huge interception guy. But he does everything else for your team and your squad. That's why I have him ranked 10th. I believe he could be probably a top 5 safety if he could be a little bit better in coverage, be able to get a couple interceptions and some more passes defended throughout his season. But nonetheless, he's still a very solid option, one of the heart and soul guys on that Seattle defensive side of the ball. So I got him rounding out in the number 10 slot, you guys, of the top 10 safeties heading into the 2021 NFL season. Would love to get your guys' opinion in the comment section down below on who you are taking in your top 10 heading into the new season here, you guys. Right real quick before we finish this video off, we're just going to run 1 through 10 again. Obviously in the first slot we got Tyrann Mathieu from the Chiefs. Number 2 slot we got Minkah Fitzpatrick from the Steelers. Number 3 we went with Justin Simmons from the Broncos. Number 4 we selected Jesse Bates from the Bengals. Number 5 we went over to the Vikings and selected veteran Harrison Smith. Number 6 we went with Budda Baker. Number 7 we went homegrown here, Green Bay, with Adrian Amos. Number 8, we selected John Johnson, who played for the Rams last year and has recently signed with the Browns. And we went with Kevin Byard in the 9 slot from the Titans. And to round it out, we went with the sack machine safety Jamal Adams from the Seahawks, you guys. Once again, you guys, I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video and every video on my channel. The support means a lot, man. Please go ahead and like this video if you like sporting content like this. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you're looking for more sporting content like this in the near future. Once again, this is Nizzy with Nizzy Sports Chat signing off.